The role and contribution of plants to human life. The concept of plants. Plants provide food, fiber, shelter, medicine, and fuel. Green plants provide the fundamental food for all organisms. During the food production process, oxygen is released. The oxygen we get from the air we breathe is essential for survival. Plants are the only ones who can provide food and oxygen. No animal can. Plant materials are obviously used for shelter, such as wood for houses and cotton fibers for clothing. That's why plants have a very important role in human life. In the Quran, there are verses that state the role of plants. Therefore, let us explore some of the verses of the Quran that related to the contributions of plants to human life. Among the contributions of plants that mentioned in the Quran are plants as food suppliers in Surah Al-Mu'minun, verse 18 to 19. And among the forms of our maintenance is that we send down fresh water in various forms, from liquid to ice, from the sky in a measure for our creatures. Then, to make it easy to use, we make the water settle and stored in the earth, and surely we have the power to remove it. But we did not do it because of our mercy to the creatures. We have caused it to be stored in the earth, and with it, we cause to grow for you gardens of date palms and vines and other gardens. There, that is, in those gardens, you get a lot of fruits, and some of the fruits you eat and become one of the kinds of good and healthy food.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وأنزلنا من السماء ماء بقدر فأسكناه في الأرض وإنا على ذهاب به لقادرون فأنشأنا لكم به جنات من نخيل وأعناب لكم فيها فواكه كثيرة ومنها تأكلون.
Next, the contribution of plants as a source of energy. In Surah Yasin, verse 80, it is He who made for you from the green tea, fire, and then from it you ignite. In the above verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stated that He makes fire out of green plants. Interpreters such as Ibn Kathir state that what is meant by fire are fuels. According to modern scientific studies, fuel consists of materials derived from plants and something that ignites when burned. For example, coal, gasoline, firewood, and even plastic come from green plants. This is because only green plants can convert from solar energy, which is sun, to chemical energy. Simply put, when those plants die and are buried with soil for a long period of time, up to millions of years, they will eventually turn to coal.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون.
Next, plants as agricultural activities. In other respects, the Quran also pays attention to areas suitable for settlement, environmental conditions that are beneficial to health, as well as comfortable weather for human life. For example, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the believers about the place where Prophet Isa alayhi salam and his mother Maryam lived, the Quran has given signs of the characteristics of the area as stated in Suratul Mu'minun, verse 50.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وجعلنا ابن مريم وأمه آية وآويناهما إلى ربوة ذات قرار ومعين.
Meaning of this verse is, and we made the son of Maryam and his mother a sign, and we gave them a shelter on a lofty ground having meadows and springs. In this verse, narrated after the birth of Prophet Isa alayhi salam, and his mother Maryam had brought him to settle in an area of high ground. There were grasslands and sources of clean running water. Based on the verse, one of the main needs in a human settlement is the availability of clean water sources, especially from flowing rivers and fertile land. Now, we look at the importance of environmental preservation and conservation. First, the environmental preservation and conservation is to ensure that the supply of basic human needs is not affected. Second, get a source of clean and unpolluted water. Third, to prevent organisms such as tigers and certain plants from the threat of extinction. Fourth, to ensure that the gas composition in the air remains balanced. Fifth, to prevent the extinction of flora and fauna. Sixth, to prevent the Earth's temperature from rising and causing global warming. And lastly, to ensure that the supply of metals and non-metals in the Earth's crust is not depleted. For conclusion, based on the discussion of this topic, there is no denying that animals and plants are a very noble and important creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It also has a correlation between human life such as food source and income, which is very valuable to every human being. Neglect of these two beings will have a detrimental effect on human beings and their lives. The use of the names of animals and plants in the Quran proves that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very concerned about the importance of the creation of both. In relation to plants, the Quran has explained and mentioned that it is part of the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to humans. Its role is very important to human and nature. With the existence of human, plants will get a sufficient source of oxygen to allow humans to live perfectly. Therefore, humans need to preserve, protect, and defend from any disturbance that damage the plants. Thus, Muslims are advised to always be mindful of related issues about animals and plants as stated in many hadith of the Prophet subhanahu wa ta'ala, where he always suggested that the two of beings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it needs to be valued and respected given its role to human life and nature.